One Michigan company is a semifinalist in the American Farm Bureau's Ag Innovation Challenge. USDA is expecting a steep drop in soybean acres next year. And Michigan Agricultural Commodities' Chris Getz will join us with a market update. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
One Michigan-based company is a national semifinalist for the American Farm Bureau's Ag Innovation Challenge. The competition provides an opportunity for individuals to showcase ideas and business innovations in agriculture. As a contest semifinalist, AgHelp Corp. Of Belding, Michigan, was awarded $10,000 for its agricultural app-based employment recruitment tool.
So Feliciano is the principal in AgHelp, which is this online program designed to link workers with farmers who have jobs need to be filled. Feliciano grew up in a migrant family, harvesting crops, traveling around, and then later on was working for the state workforce agency and realized that the current system is fairly cumbersome, takes a lot of time, puts a lot of steps in between growers and workers, and these are seasonal temporary jobs that need action right away. He also noticed that everybody has a smartphone and looks at that to get their news and their information. So had the idea that we ought to have an app to do just that, link up farmers who have jobs, what they are, support service providers that maybe provide services for workers, temporary, seasonal, traveling workers, and then have a place for workers to be able to look and find those jobs and link people together in a very real-time fashion. In terms of Great Lakes Ag Labor Services and the H-2A visa program, we actually have requirements that we have to place ads in newspapers, and that's a very outdated way of communicating job needs. If you look at every other industry is going to all the online services, and agriculture really didn't have anything specific to these seasonal jobs. So this falls right in line. I think it complements what we're trying to do, which is basically to find enough workers, link them up with the jobs in real time so that as the jobs ebb and flow around the state, workers can find those opportunities and get linked together.
The United States Department of Agriculture is projecting the third largest soybean acres decline of all time. The slow pace of soybean exports and the dramatic decline in Chinese purchases are to blame. Soybean acres are expected to drop by 6.6 million acres in 2019, down to 82.5 million. With acreage moving out of soybeans, growers are expected to plant 92 million acres of corn next year, up 2.9 million acres, and 51 million acres of wheat, up 3.2 million. The data is a preview of the annual long-term agricultural projections to 2028 report, which includes estimates on the supply and demand for agricultural commodities for the next 10 years.
Time to renew your land lease? Review Foster Swift's guide to land lease agreements at fosterswift.com.
Two men indicted on fraud charges alongside Decatur, Michigan farmer Mike Stamp are now pleading guilty after accepting a plea deal. James Beecraft and Douglas Dykeman say they're guilty of conspiracy to make false statements to the Federal Crop Insurance Corporation. Court documents show Stamp's plea still stands as not guilty. He is accused of bankruptcy fraud and insurance fraud. Prosecutors say he committed crop insurance fraud to help pay for his farming operation and make lease payments. A court date is set for January 2019. With a look at the latest market activity, here is Michigan Ag Commodities' Chris Getz.
Thanks, Janelle. Trade continues to be centered on any news regarding trade negotiations with China. Thursday saw beans jump up coming out of the overnights on reports that China had sent a written response to U.S. trade demands. Beans were up over a dime on the news without even knowing what the response said. Any kind of communication between the economic juggernauts seems to be seen as a positive at this point. Moves like this one show that the market is ready to latch on to a rally should a favorable resolution be made. However, the if and when of a resolution being reached are still big question marks. There is still the threat of increased tariffs from the U.S. should the Chinese not show concessions. The Chinese are finding alternative means of procuring and reducing their needs for soybeans. 2 rounds of market facilitation program payments to farmers, as well as a midterm election that showed the administration does not need to appease rural America, suggests the administration is in it for the long haul. Drawn out tensions between the U.S. and China leaves a dismal outlook for U.S. export potential for the 2018-2019 marketing year, especially should a resolution not be met before South American harvest. U.S. soybean sales to China have stopped since tariffs were implemented. This, with a record crop this fall, leaves U.S. stocks extremely burdensome. The latest USDA WASDE report reduced U.S. exports, which resulted in an increase in projected U.S. ending stocks. If nothing changes, this trend will continue and continue to pressure soybeans long term. For more market information, go to mishag.com. With Michigan Agricultural Commodities, I'm Chris Betts.
For more news and video, visit MichiganFarmNews.com and the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.